All right, here we go. Another Wednesday, August 13th. Welcome, everybody, to another Watercooler Wednesday. I'm joined, as always, by Dwayne Gibbs. Dwayne, my man, what's happening?
Oh, good, good, good. Listen, you're not going to believe it. I know I said it last week. It's still raining here in North Carolina. I mean, it's like
Seriously?
it's like 12 days straight of rain, and I'm over it. We haven't seen sunshine at all. I'm over it. I had to
I,
come to Florida to get some sunshine. As you know, I was in Jacksonville last weekend, and great weather.
yeah.
Rained all around us, so I guess was giving me a break and let me have a day at the pool for a little R&R and great weather. But as soon as we left, we drove all the way back in the rain. It's been raining ever since. So
Yeah. Well, I told you we have a mutual friend who's in town, somebody we trained in the business a good dozen years ago, and he's still in it. And he was just calling. He had some ideas he wanted to run by me and help him figure out some
nice.
math and things like that. And doing the normal Orlando vacation stuff. And I said, yeah.
Yes, you
I said,
said.
what time, you got to call it quits about 4:30, 5 o'clock every day, right? He goes, at the rain, because it's just almost on schedule. So that's all the rain we're getting. He goes, yeah, it'll shut things down. They'll kick us out of the pool for about an hour and then say, come on back. So,
Florida's consistent.
yes, indeed. But anyhow, man, I've got a lot of case studies I'm working on. Made a ton of offers the other day on some
Hmm.
things, so we'll have a lot of this. But I have two case studies, and it's always interesting to me how things happen in sometimes twos or threes. Where I start to see as I'm talking with people, man, that's interesting. You're the second person that's brought up this, or that, and when I
Hmm.
see that, it always kind of triggers me to go, you know what, I got to teach about that again. I've got to get that back out there because apparently this is happening, whatever that may be, but it happens all the time. And so I have two case studies that I'm going to go over in the next 20, 30 minutes with everybody that I'm going to highlight a couple things. Each one has a story where if you didn't know what I'm about to show you, it would have cost you 5,000 bucks
Really?
flat out, two of them. And these are
Hmm.
like boom, boom, and almost like days apart. And so it's pretty interesting how that happens. And it just stood out to me because it's about the same number, 5 grand on each one, but completely different reasons, completely
Hmm.
different reasons. But and it just shows you that importance of this is not a difficult business conceptually of what we're buying. We find an asset, we compare what we're investing to the value of the underlying asset, we negotiate a price with the yield, and conceptually it's pretty darn easy. Where the rubber hits the road on a lot of these deals is it's just in the fine points. It's a
Hmm.
fine points. And those are the things. Look, everybody, it's been said over and over and over again. It's absolutely true. You pay for education one way or another.
No
You
question.
either learn by trial and error, going through it, or you decide I'm going to invest in myself and I'm going to, learn through somebody else's experience, so I don't have to make those same mistakes, and you just accelerate your learning. I mean, if, that's just how it is. I mean, in anything, and I know Dwayne, you're a big, believer in that too. It's just that's what it is. I don't know what else anybody needs to hear. That's just real world.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because, as you know, I talked to a gal on Friday or actually Thursday, and she had some education in the note business and felt like she could go out and do it on her own. And she was talking about, your Done For You program where you do your partnership.
Mhm.
And she goes, I saw you guys talking about this on Kevin's Water Cooler Wednesday, and I wanted to kind of get a better understanding of what all that looks like. And I said, do you have any prior training? Yes. I've got some training, but I really wanted to focus in on really understanding the business. And I have some capital. I have a full-time job. We're looking to retire and have some capital, but knowing that Kevin has the experience, and I tried to do it on my own, and it really didn't go the way I anticipated. And I said, "You bought yourself some education." And she goes, "I did about $7,000 worth." And I said, "We see it all the time.
Mhm.
At some point, you realize I don't want to pay for it up front, but you're going to pay for it one way or another, and it just happens." And so, I like the offers that you have. to where I call it learning and earning, learning and
Yeah.
making money as you go. And so it's so true. But you're going to pay for training one way or another, whether it's up front or in the back end to where you've made mistakes from, and it's hard to correct them if you don't
Yeah.
have somebody that knows more than you do about the situation.
Yeah. So let me go through these with everybody and see what you think. We'll see who our listeners what they know on this. Now, I'm going to do a briefer version of this for you because I want to get through both of these. This is a reperforming note, so just background. Reperforming note means that at some point in time the note went bad, meaning they stopped making payments, and that could have been bad for quite some time. At some point in time, somebody came along and worked with them and did what we call a workout in the business and got this note reperforming again. So they negotiated certain things. They may have moved debt to the back of the loan. They may stretch it out. You may lower interest rate, anything like that to get the loan going from non-performing to reperforming. We call that a workout. So that's what was done in this case. And it has had a bad performance in the past because I've looked up the entire history of this note, obviously, in part of my due diligence, and I've seen the payment history. It's actually been modified twice. So she got in trouble twice. So it's a repeatable pattern. But she's been on a good swing of things with a good modification for the last 12 months. So reperforming, when do you call a reperforming note, or sorry, when do you call a non-performing note reperforming? When do you call a reperforming note performing? There's no pure definitions of what that is, everybody, but it's almost you could go by your gut. Certainly after 12 months, it would fall in the category back of a performing note, at that point in time. But I wanted to frame it as reperforming simply to let you know where the background came from this. So that's a scenario that we know coming into this note. In fact, the woman's been in this house since 2003. So this is an old loan. And I know these old loans. It's just the pattern of these we've seen over and over again. And that's one of the benefits of longevity and the industry or expertise, through longevity that I've had, because a lot of notes in this category, there was no doubt in my mind, just by knowing it's 2003, that this was a bank originated loan. It just makes sense because that's what was happening. Real estate was starting to boom. We had the big increase going up to 2008. So this is prime time where anybody can get a loan from a bank, and that's what everybody was doing. Seller financing was down as far as percentages of deals with seller financing because anybody could walk into a bank and they had liar loans. And yeah, I work at 7-Eleven and I make $150,000 a year, just stated income, all that kind of stuff. And that's what was happening. So just looking at that date, I made some assumptions. They turned out to be correct because I always verify stuff later on. It was a bank originated loan, adjustable rate, of course. And it would be called a subprime loan that was done at that point in time, of course, because that just made sense. So when things turned, when the real estate market started to crash and it was really a financial crash, guess what? Her, along with a lot of other people, defaulted on their loan. So there was no surprise in this. And eventually that loan comes out of the banking system because it's traded intra-banks for quite some time. And then when it goes into default, it comes out of the banking system and sold on the open market. And then it's modified. And sure enough, it was modified in 2012. Which hits all those same timelines. It went bad again and then remodified a year ago. The whole thing makes perfect sense to me. Now, again, if you're new to the business, there's no way in heck you would have known what I just told you. Why? Because you just weren't there. Okay. And so it's not out of not knowing anything. It's just you don't have that experience on it. So I knew this kind of going in. And I also knew, if she's had this modified a few times, there's a repeatable pattern here. There's a potential issue. So you got to be careful in a note like this. So that's what we have, a performing mortgage now. And I knew that some of these numbers, there's no way her original loan in 2003 was $36,000, and now it's 33. That doesn't make any sense, So the numbers kind of tell the story as well. So she still has the old 7.5% interest rate there, 166 payments left, and you can see the monthly payments are 327. Okay, so let me see the paperwork, right? I'm interested. I can buy this at a good price. I got it for less than what they were listing it for, and which bumped my yield up above 10%. So I got this at a higher percent than that, 11%. And I was interested. So I said, great, let's do this. Get me the paperwork. And sure enough, there's the original mortgage. Pennsylvania Equity Resources did the loan back in 2003, immediately sold the paper. It's on the bottom of this mortgage, immediately sold the paper to another entity. Here's the note, everything that's in there. And I want you to remember this, the balance on this loan, $36,720. That was back in 2003.
Mm.
Okay. You know what she owes today? You'll see. Remarkably close. She owns, I just actually kind of showed it to you. She owes $33,805 today. Okay. So the loan has been on, it's been off, it's been on, it's been off, and all these penalties, people don't realize all the penalties that start to add up. You can see her interest rate back then was 10.4%. Okay. Why would she get a loan at 10.4%? Because she could get a loan, baby, and properties were going through the roof. People look today, it's at 7%. Nobody wants a loan. She got this at 10.4 because heck, you buy your house now, next year it's worth twice as much, or at least that's what the thought process was here. So that was the original loan, and that went bad. No big surprise there. You can see that in 2024, this was modified again through the servicing company here. They got her all set up. They took the unpaid balance that had accrued, right? So 6,000 some odd dollars with late fees and penalties and everything else. Because remember, her payments were $300 a month. So there's a number of months that it takes to get that much of unpaid. I did that at one point in time. I can't remember how many years that is of just no payments coming in. So they said, look, your note balance is $29,206. What we're going to do is take this $6,000, add it on to that amount. Okay. Therefore, we're not going to foreclose on you. We're going to continue to work with you here. You're going to have to pay us a little fee to create this. We're going to keep your interest rate the same. And they do a little summary here. We're going to re-amortize this thing over 180 months, to help you on your payments. So it shows very clearly here. Here's what your new payments are. Okay. Remarkably similar to what they were in 2003. Okay. So all these mods are laid out very, very clear, but you have to go through those. You got to look at them because this is what you're buying. Whatever that loan was before, the original loan doesn't matter anymore. This modification, which she has acknowledged the previous loan, that was the first thing that you do. It's an important step, by the way. They acknowledge and reaffirms the validity of that loan. That gets away from statutory stuff and everything else. It resets the clock. So everything's been modified. They did a great job in the modification. It was FCI, so I'm not surprised. So this is the new loan, 180 months, 7.5%, 35,363, and your monthly payments. That's the new loan when they modified it. Now, time has gone by. So on the left-hand side is when they did the mod. Now I'm bringing you up to that same loan on a financial calculator to where we are now. So the original 180 months, there's 166 remaining. That's what I'm buying. Okay. 7.5% interest is the coupon rate, as we call it. That's what the consumer is paying. 33,805 is the balance. And of course, the monthly payments are the same. So that's what I'm buying on the right-hand side of the screen. On the left, that's what they did. Okay. You still have to investigate. Now, you may have noticed on the first page I showed you, this loan is not being escrowed. Okay, so that means the borrower is responsible for their own taxes and insurance. Okay, property taxes we're talking about and property insurance. Always, always, always check the property taxes no matter what the scenario is. So I did that, and here's what I found. Okay. $230.64 delinquent from 2024, $457.60 from 2023, a total of $688 that's due, plus she's late on the 2025 payments. Okay. Now that's not a whole lot of money, right? So that's curable, certainly.
A lot if you don't have it.
Yeah, true. But it's curable, right? So I could pay that money and then tack it on to the loan if I had to. We could send her letters saying you've got to get that done. Now, I was surprised, in all honesty, if you're doing a loan modification, clean this up. That should have been
Mm.
done as a part of the loan mod. So I was a little bit surprised about that. I'm like, gee, if you're doing the mod, have, some of this money you've got to allocate towards these property taxes and get this cured because this is a problem. Unpaid taxes eventually leads to a tax sale. So the next thing you have to do, because you can't keep
Why do
current.
you think they didn't do that? Why do you think that?
Well, I know why now.
Okay. Okay.
I know why now. Yeah. Yeah. It was puzzling. It was puzzling for sure. So, armed with this information, I started looking at Pennsylvania. Nobody, including myself, can keep up with every tax lien law, in every state. So, very simple. I researched Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, when you are 2 years behind, which this 2023 is 2 years behind, it automatically goes to a tax sale.
Oh,
The tax sale, so this is August, the tax sale is today the 15th?
today is the 13th.
13th. Okay. September 15th is when the sale is scheduled. Okay. So
Mm.
there it is. Oh, 19th. Sorry. September 19th, right there. Okay. And you can see I just went to Washington County. I was researching this. I'm going, wow. So unpaid balance from 2023, your parcel will be scheduled for an upset sale in September. It's coming up.
Mm.
Now, first of all, how many of you would have caught that and how many of you would have known what to do? Because if you were to buy this and then you find out, uh-oh, it goes to a tax sale right before you're trying to get this thing closed and you're not paying attention, it goes to a tax sale. Now, are you wiped out? In some states, you are. In Pennsylvania, you are not. The upset sale is still subject to the first. So the
Mm.
homeowner's in trouble, but not the first position lender. Okay, because the new buyer takes it subject to that mortgage, meaning they're responsible to pay that mortgage. Okay. What if it doesn't sell? Then it goes to a judicial sale 3 months later. Then you could be completely wiped out of your investment.
Oh.
Yeah. So it could have been, I mean, I could have titled this a potential $29,000 mistake. Yeah. Why did I say it was a $5,000 mistake? Okay. Because you haven't seen 5 grand yet. It doesn't make sense. That, well, cure it. Pay the $700. I'll buy the note. I'll pay the $700. I'll take it off the purchase price. Totally could do that. 100%. In fact, you could make that offer. But knowing this, the next step, which again, would you know what to do? I looked up the sale. And there were pages and pages and pages of these sales because it's Washington. You get one page. You get one report, I should say, multiple pages because they take every different county and every different municipality and they list them all out. And there's just pages of them. And there you go, highlighted in red there. Well, with the red lines, that's it. And if you focus over here, the upset price is $4,329.
Mm.
So almost 5 grand, right? $4,300. That's what you would have to pay at an upset sale to cure this.
Mm.
How did it go from 400 or 600 something to $4,328? Okay, so I informed the seller. I said, here's the problem. And I showed proof, everybody. I didn't just, hey, here's what I found. I have screenshots and I showed him. So here we go. I said, I showed the tax sale, the first one, and I said, attach the notice for you. She's fourth from the bottom. I'm still interested, but somebody's going to have to pay that $4,300. So I could take it off the price, or if you want to pay it, that's fine. Okay. Now, this was a very good note seller because he took that information and he got right to work. And you can see what he did. He called the county and he said, he goes, you know what, Kevin? He goes, the taxes are my oversight. I told the borrower that I'd roll the taxes into the loan mod. So it
Mm,
was supposed to be done. So there was your answer to it, right? It was supposed to be done,
yeah.
meaning he would pay it, but he forgot to do it. So I'll go ahead and pay the 2023, 24, 25, totaling $876. I'll go ahead and pay that now. Smart,
Yeah, that's smart.
smart. It amazes me how some note sellers, well, you can take care of it. We'll do. It's like,
Yeah, they push it off. They don't want to take care of me, but
yeah,
that's a responsible note owner.
you
He did the
know,
right thing.
it is because if I would have had to pay the 876, it's not that money, but it's also now the hassle that I've got to take my time to figure out how to do it. So 876, I'll take 1,000 off the price. It's not going to be even. Just fix it. You're selling a product here, and because of this, does this make me want to work with this guy again? Does this give me
Absolutely.
confidence if something happens after the sale that this guy was willing to help. This guy's willing to, yeah, hey, I'll find that. I'll resubmit that document. I think so.
I would
Yeah,
say he's a good note investor, as you said, and he's not a note hustler.
exactly.
We find people out there that are just hustling notes, brokering notes, that
Yeah.
really don't have any idea of how to do the business. And somebody would have said, ah, you just take care of it.
And it tells me that he wasn't trying to slide something by. He
Yep.
wasn't
Just
trying to
honest
sell a
mistake.
note and go, "Phew, they didn't see that, you know. It was just something he forgot to do. And I totally get that. Now, the good news was the 4,300 upset price, that's if you wait and pay at the sale, which is in September. But if you cure that now, all you have to pay is what's owed.
Mm,
Perfect. And that's what he did. And then he sent me, which I didn't take pictures of, but he sent me the receipts. I didn't even have to ask for him for the receipts. I would have, right? Because it's always trust but verify because he may have paid them and it might take the county a week, I don't know, to update their information. Maybe it's the same day, but who knows? But he was smart. He said, boom, they're paid. Here's the receipts. And that day, which was either yesterday or the day before, we got all the way through to a purchase and sale agreement, title company. We're almost in escrow and just in 2 days.
nice.
So once he had it done, we just went, great, everything's cleared up. Boom, let's move forward. Fantastic.
In how many days? Two,
Uh,
you said?
yeah, two, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to make a point because there are
yeah.
people that I've talked to that says, how can you get this done? It's dragging out to 30, 60, 90 days. And I'm like, there's no reason why it could take 90 days to close a note deal.
Yeah. Now it took I'd have to go back and look at my timeline, but it may have taken 4 days to get to the point where I got,
That's
hey,
my
here's the
point. That's
property
my point.
taxes. But
Right.
once that got cured, yeah, 2 days, we're ready to escrow. I've got BPOs were ordered a couple of days ago, a title report, and I'll be putting money in the bank before the weekend. And once that's done, we'll have this thing closed within a week. It doesn't have to
Yeah,
take long. If you've got buyers and sellers who know what the heck they're doing, that's a part of it. Um,
for sure.
then things get done, get done pretty quickly. So very happy about that. And I got it for 28, so it puts me almost at 11%. Fair deal for me, for him, and everything else. And 11% I thought was more fair simply because look, she's a repeat offender, so to speak. That's probably a little aggressive, but I mean, 2003, she's had a rocky road, and even with the payments being about $300 a month, it's been modified at least twice. So there's a chance that it may go back into a non-performing status again. I hope it doesn't, but there's a chance there. So I want to get a little bit more bang for my buck on that as a result. All right, good stuff. Let me show you another one real quick here. So that mistake, I put $5,000 on the last one. I mean, that could have been a $29,000 mistake. It could have been an $800 mistake, or yeah, $800 mistake, or it could have been a $4,300 mistake. But you get my point. Okay. So here's another one. This one is 5 grand, by the way, right on the nose. So these are lots out in the Phoenix area. And I know I talked about these, Dwayne.
Yeah, last
We did
week
these
we
last
talked we
week.
yeah, we
Oh,
did an update. So we were
yeah,
back months ago about the purchase of it and what all that looked like. And then last week we had a follow-up, and I'm assuming
yeah.
this is the follow-up from last week.
So I think I pointed this out. Maybe I didn't. Okay. So on this one, because again, I know I briefed this last week. These are vacant lots, but they're in
Mm,
an area that is going to have tremendous growth. These we have some of the other lots there. So it's lots one and two here together. This is even though this is the dirt road, this is the main road, probably be paved. So I know we talk about that. Got all the paperwork on everything. And this one had a balloon note in here. Okay, so they set this up where it looks like this on a closer look here. So the guy bought it for 52, put a nice down payment, so a total of $16,000 down, created a $36,400 note. Payments on that are 391.16. Starts making payments in October 2024, monthly thereafter until a balloon payment will be due on October 2028. So he set up a 4-year balloon. Okay, what is a balloon? For those who don't know, the payments are based upon, on this one, 180 months. Okay, that's what they're basing the monthly payments upon. But we're saying on October 1st, 2028, whatever the balance is, you got to pay that in full. Now, how could you pay that in full? You could pay cash, you could get another loan, and cash out this loan. You could sell the property, but you got to come up with the rest of the money. And of course, both parties know coming in that's what the deal is. If they ultimately can't come up with the money, then we do some kind of a workout. Could we push the balloon back? Sure. Could we play hardball? Sure. Okay, so different discussion there. So as I'm looking through this one, and I don't know that I talked about this before, I started looking at the payment history, and the payment history on this is perfect, by the way. They're not only paying on time in almost every single case, they've paid a couple days early. So this is a great payer for 8 months. But you'll notice down here, there's a $5,000 amount being paid. Okay. Now that's early into the loan. He started making payments. The payments were due October 1st, if you recall, 2024, October, November, and then also in November, he put in another 5,000 bucks on top of the 16 grand. Remember, he put 16 grand down. We have the note, and then he paid this extra $5,000. So again, this is indicating a very good borrower who not only wants to pay this on time, but wants to get this loan off of the property. Well, he's paying 10%. Why not? So what's significant about that, and how would you have handled that? Well, the balloon is basically, if I did this on a financial calculator for you, the balloon, I thought I had it written here. Oh yeah, it's on the other slide. The balloon is about, on the regular loan here, about 30,000 bucks. If you were to amortize this out, it's just over $30,000 is what the balloon would be if he lived up to this schedule. That's what you got to remember when you're looking at these notes. This is the schedule. You can calculate the balloon. That's what the balloon will be if they make their payments on time. Okay, if they follow exactly to the schedule, in other words. But do people always stick to the schedule? No. Sometimes they pay late, so the balloon amount's going to change. Sometimes, like in this case, they pay early, balloon's going to change. And another thing they may do is start to put more money towards principal. So in a
mm.
case like this, the extra $5,000 isn't credited for now you don't have to make a payment for X number of months. It comes directly off of the balloon. So if you're going through your financial calculator and you've calculated this out and you said, I'm paying this, I'm getting 42 payments of 391, and then I'm getting $30,000, and you come up with the amount that you're willing to pay for that, that's one thing. The problem is you're going to lose out on 5,000 bucks because the balloon in this case is no longer 30 grand. In fact, it's 25,621 bucks.
Mm,
A $5,000 difference.
mm.
Okay. So how would you have caught that? Well, You could do it the way I did, which was by really looking at and understanding those payment histories, and they can be challenging to look at, no question about it. And number two, understanding what that means, where that's going to be credited. The other thing where you could have caught it was to get a loan payoff statement before you close on it, because that would make it very clear of what
Hmm.
things were. Most people I've seen that are not trained properly, they
Oh,
don't get a
yes, right.
payoff statement.
Mm-mm.
They just go with an amortization schedule, say, well, that's the unpaid balance. It's like it may not be. It may not be. That's again based on a schedule. If that schedule has not been followed to the T, then it's going to be a different number. So, you've got to go through and understand those. So that's why on this one, we're getting again 11%. So we're getting it for $31,049. What are we getting? We're getting 42 payments and his number of payments of 391.16 per month. Then we're getting a $25,000 balloon. So if we invest $31,049 into that, where we're getting the payments and that balloon, it comes out to 11%. Okay. That's the big difference. That number would have been completely different, and you would have overpaid substantially if you didn't understand where the extra payment comes in. So important stuff to, you know,
Good stuff.
part of this is, yeah, you want to, you've heard me say it over and over again. It's the first thing we look at is our risk, and second, we look at reward. There's so many people, and Dwayne, I know we've called them yield hunters over the years, that they just run their numbers and count on yield.
Yeah, they get stuck on
Yeah,
that.
and it's like, well, where are you coming up with that number? Is that number right? Have you seen a loan payoff? Or are you just using a number that came off of somebody typing it in, or an amortization schedule? Have you really scrutinized the payment history there? And that's an important step that I've seen a lot of people just not do.
Man, good information today for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Listen, I would tell all you listeners out there, if you're looking, if you've never been to Kevin's website, go to learn.kevinshortell.com. I think he's probably going to put it up.
Yeah.
However, you can get a 4 series video that he did and breaks down deals that he just went over. Not the exact deal, but different deals, taking you through step by step of what to look for, how to break deals down, what to do, what not to do, and it's completely free. The only thing you have to do is go to learn.kevinshortell.com. And then when you're in there, you click on it, you load your information, your first name, last name, email, address, click on it, and then you will be sent a questionnaire and fill out that questionnaire. Once you submit that, you'll then receive the 4 series videos that he put together, and it's free. Good
Mhm.
stuff, really good stuff. I have several people that have reached out to me and said, "Man, this is good stuff. It's free. I can't believe that he's putting this out there." And uh, it's good stuff, Kev.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I mean, they're just real deals, and it's stuff I do every single day. It's a part of where do you get the inventory and everything else. I mean, we have people all the time. Oh, where's the inventory? We're like, I'm not having a problem with inventory. So you either
Yeah.
don't know the right people, you don't have the right sources, or you're looking at the inventory the wrong way. It's got to be one of those three things of why you can't find inventory. I was telling Dwayne right before we started, I said, I just put in an offer on 12 different notes yesterday. Um,
Hmm.
now I might not win all of those. I might not, but I'll get some. And they're all going to be good yields. They're all going to be good deals, like a lot of these deals that I'm showing you here. So again, you either don't know the right people, don't have the right sources, or you're not looking at inventory the right way. And I've had that happen before. I've had Dwayne, a couple of people who have been to other trainings and spent a lot of money, and I get it. And then they go, well, I don't know if I need training. I just kind of need a little help here and there, and they'll sign up with me just for that. But I had one guy, he got, again, he signed up because of that, spent a lot of money somewhere else and didn't get the results. And now he's like, I really need, some one-on-one help, which I do. So he says, after about a month or two, he goes, still not seeing any inventory. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're closing deals every single week. And I said, here's what we need to do. I said, I want to get on a one-on-one Zoom with you, and I want you to show me how you're looking at these deals
Mm-hmm.
because you haven't been trained right. I got to retrain you. I got to get your brain restructured here on how to look at these things. And sure enough, as he started to go through the whole thing, I was like, okay, I got it. I figured it out. I said, your approach is just wrong. So I don't know who taught you what they did, and I'm sorry you had to spend a lot of money with them, but I'm telling you, let me show you now how I do it, you know. And we found a deal right on that Zoom. I said, hey, now look, we're just kind of kicking around, and within 30 minutes, I found a deal I think that's going to actually work for you. We researched public records, we did everything else. I said, now you just got to follow up. And I believe he ended up buying that deal, and
Wow.
it just goes to show you. So, it's always going to be one of those things. You know, uh, but that's the rarity. I mean, most people don't get to work directly with an expert. They just don't.
Well, and I can tell you one thing we are experiencing is more people are coming to you that have assets because they know that your students are closing deals.
Yeah.
So we're seeing more and more people say, "Hey, I have this tape, I have these assets. Why don't you take a look at them?" And I think more are coming to you because of, the reputation. Hey, Kevin's training's good. His students are closing deals. We're able to get them on and off our books quickly. And people that don't understand, I mean, these hedge fund companies, realistically, they want them on and off their books within, 120 days. And sometimes that's hard. We see same tape, same assets go down the road. And I think that just comes to a contest of you of being able to really identify a good deal, break it down, and then really understand it. And you have a ton of correspondence back and forth with the sellers. A lot of
Oh
people
yeah.
just let it go and, hey, you know what? It's a bad deal, where they're not taking the time because you and I both know a lot of these sellers that are putting notes for sale on platforms that are free that they don't have to spend a lot of money on. They're just throwing them out there, and they haven't been trained. So contest to what you're doing is it's the proper way of how to evaluate these deals.
Yeah, I've even, as you know, I've even taken a couple people who I turned the deals down. I said, look, if I were you, here's what I would do. You're not getting the value for your note. You got to fix this up. You got to do that. You got to, you're just really shooting yourself in the foot. But that's a different story for a different day. But
Yeah.
thanks everybody for tuning in and share it with a friend too. If you enjoy this, let us know if there's any topics or anything like that you want us to hit. Just shoot us an email at info@kevinshortel.com. But check out learn.kevinshortel.com. Just subscribe to our email list. That triggers the events where you get the free videos, and you're really going to enjoy those as well. So thanks again, everybody. We'll talk to you again in another week. Dwayne, thank
Good
you
session, Kevin. Yep.
as well. Okay, buddy. See ya.
Talk to you. See you.